I have had some major flops when it comes to foods that I have freeze-dried. You know, sometimes you just have great ideas, but they don't always work out. I have gone through my freeze-drying archives and compiled a list of my 5 worst foods that I have ever put in my freeze dryer that did not turn out, to help you not make the same mistakes I have made. Now, none of these are in a particular ranked order except for my number 1 fail. And I am gonna make a comeback with this food that's in my number 1 spot because I am determined to get it to work because I know other people who have made it and love it. So I've got to figure it out. Let's dive right in. Starting in at number 5, we have one of the worst foods that I have ever freeze-dried, hot dogs. In my head, I had dreams of freeze-drying hot dogs, being able to take them with us on camping trips as a dried hot dog and be able to rehydrate it and eat it. My kids love hot dogs. It would be so nice to be able to use it for camping if you don't have to refrigerate the hot dog to keep it good. To be able to just have it in a bag and it's super lightweight, it would have been awesome, right? It would have been genius. But did it work? No. Here's what happened. Okay, well, I don't believe in wasting space in the freeze dryer, so I had 2 more burger patties left in that particular package, so I stuck them on this tray. Got my hot dogs here and my 3 patties on this side. Let's get these downstairs to the freeze dryer. Time to load up my trays. I now am just going to close my drain valve and I hit continue. And we're good to go. So after the weigh test, my hot dogs weighed the same, no change in weight, so those were finished. My burger patties did change by 3 grams, so I pulled out my hot dogs, but I left my burgers in the freeze dryer. I'm gonna let them go for a couple more hours and see how we are looking. But here are how my hot dogs look. Kinda weird. Now, I realize that hot dogs are a very greasy food, and these have a lot of grease on them. So I definitely do not think these are good for long-term food storage. Just because that grease and oil can spoil. And I just want to show you how these look. The hot dog is still like super hard and it does not seem appetizing at all. I'm just gonna say no to the hot dogs, okay? If you have freeze-dried hot dogs and they worked for you, tell me, but I am just gonna put hot dogs on my don't freeze-dry list for myself. I have the bag of hot dogs. Do you dare me to open it? I know we're not gonna eat these, so let's open it. It smells like a hot dog. Here is how it looks. It is definitely not as dried up as it was when it went in the bag. I would not eat these. But if you've ever wondered what freeze-dried hot dogs look like that are 8 months old, no, 9 months old, here they are. I knew we weren't gonna eat these, so I don't mind just throwing them away. Funny, the hot dogs. Don't freeze dry them. My 4th worst freeze dry fail was in the candy department, and they were Gummy Bears. This was one of my first candy explosions that I have had in my freeze dryer, so it required some cleaning afterwards. Here's what happened. And there's the Gummy Bears. Over here on the screen, you want to make sure you select candy process to on, continue. I am going to warm the trays and I am gonna add 10 minutes of warming. Welcome back. It has been 4 hours. Literally, just as I said that, my freeze dryer is beeping that our 4 hours is up and it is ready to get the candy out. It looks like we had some candy kind of explode in here. which is not very good because that means it could have possibly gotten in my vacuum pump. So let's see how these look. Okay, these ones are like stuck. Okay, these gummy bears went insane. Are you kidding me? Holy cow. These just turned out crazy. I mean, they just completely crush. What to do with this guy? Holy cow. Okay. I just broke off a piece. And I'm gonna attempt to eat this. It's flying everywhere. Okay, now I'm gonna have to vacuum after this, but let's cheers. It's actually very tasty. This one is hilarious. You can see the little gummy bear's body here that didn't freeze dry. But the rest of him exploded. It's like his head blew up. So they tasted good, that's for sure, but it was just a crumbly gummy bear mess. If you have mastered freeze-dried gummy bears, please let me know. These were like a Valentine's edition, and I think they were the mini gummy bears. Maybe not. Maybe they were regular. I don't remember, but they went crazy. I mean, it's fun to see the fun candy explosions, but not fun to clean up. Coming in at number 3 is a more recent food that I freeze-dried. My hair is like staticky in my face today. But my number 3 freeze-dry fail was when I freeze-dried apple cider. I was working on making a Christmas morning simmering pot. You know, those delicious like potpourri Christmas smells that you put on the stove and just let it simmer for hours in your house. Smells like the delicious aromas of Christmas. Well, I wanted to make my own apple cider powder that I could put into the jar that I was making. Well, here's what happened when I tried to freeze-dry apple cider. Here are all of my beautiful fruits. I need to go grab my spices. I'm just gonna toss them on, I think the apple tray seems like it has the most amount of space. Just to have them in there. It's okay if it kind of mixes together. Everything's loaded up. Vanilla ice is doing its thing. These are some dense trays. I think they are going to take a very long time. I am sure well over 24 hours. So I will definitely check in with y'all and see how we're looking. Let you know how long it takes. I don't know. It's my first time doing something like this, but I'm really excited about it. Time has finally come for me to be able to take this out of the freeze dryer. The machine sensed that it was done at around 33 or 34 hours. That was right before bed last night, and I was way too tired to deal with this. So I just increased it even longer to go continue to dry overnight to when I could do it in the morning when my kids were at school. So the total dry time on this time is 41 hours, but that's a little longer than what it needed to be. And I am seeing a problem that I was worried about happening with the apple cider. I'm gonna have a mess to clean up. Houston, we have a problem. Everything freeze-dried beautifully except the cider. I was worried about it. It's just like I mean, obviously the sugar content was too high, but I don't know if it's worth even trying to use this in these jars or not. I don't know. So, I mean, there's no way. This is just, I don't know. Like, you can't even really get it out of here. Nope. I'm calling that a fail. So that was a total fail, a sticky, disgusting mess. But I came up with another solution. I bought the powdered apple cider that you can buy at the grocery store. That is like a mix that you just mix into hot water and it turns into cider. That's what I was hoping to make homemade, but it did not work in my freeze dryer. So I still freeze dried all of the other ingredients for my Christmas morning simmer pot, but I added a package of apple cider powder to my jar so that you could still get the aroma of apple cider in your simmering pot. And it worked out just fine. I still have one left. I need to simmer it up and use it. Number 2 was a candy that I had really high hopes for, and it just didn't work. There are certain candies that just don't work in the freeze dryer. This was one that I really wanted to work because they are so good and would have been so good if they were a puffy, delicious freeze-dried candy texture, but it did not work. Here's how it went. All right, this is kind of our test run. They are rolling around like crazy on these trays. I didn't use my silicone mats, which they aren't very grippy anyway. So we'll just see how this goes. I'm hoping they don't stick together. This will be a test run. If they don't turn out, we will try again. Hopefully these babies are gonna puff up and become nice and crunchy and delicious. Process is complete. We were gone for most of the evening, so I increased the dry time. So these actually have been in here for a total of 9 hours. And I've noticed there is not much of a change on these. I'm squeezing these. These were a fail, look. It just feels like a warm, hot tamale. That video is so old and not great, but I was doing my best. That was done right in the beginning of my candy making journey, before I had kind of learned what types of candies work and what types don't. The hot tamales did not work. Now, I tried a second time in that same video where I went and changed the settings in my freeze dryer and tried again. Still didn't work. They just tasted like warm hot tamales. However, I have seen in some freeze-dried candy groups that I am in on the Book of Face that they have figured out how to make hot tamales work. But I don't remember what they said to do. So, I don't know. Maybe I need to do some more candy research and see if it's possible, but I haven't tried again. Certain candies with like too much cornstarch and certain ingredients just don't do anything in the freeze dryer, and that's okay. There's still plenty of candies that do work. So that was another candy fail. Before I get to number 1, I want to just thank you all so much for being here on my channel. If you have not subscribed to my channel and you love freeze drying like me, hit that subscribe button. We do, the most fun freeze drying things on the internet, right? We have the most fun here, I think. But I truly want to thank you for a wonderful year. My channel has grown so much this year, more than I ever thought was possible. And that is thanks to all of you, people who watch my channel. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. I hope you all had a wonderful Christmas and that you have a great Happy New Year and that we're all feeling refreshed and rejuvenated and ready to take on 2025. Are you ready? I can't believe it's here, but it's here. And by the way, the Black Friday Harvest Right sale is going on through December 31st. So you have a couple more days to get the best discounts that you can get all year on a freeze dryer. If that was something that was on your Christmas list and you didn't get, check them out. I've got a link in the video description below. Mine is a size medium and I love it. Are we ready for my number 1 worst freeze-dried fail ever? I need to know if you have any guesses as to what this is gonna be. Leave it in the comments down below if your guess was right or wrong. This was a food that I have heard that so many people love freeze-dried. And in fact, it's one of their best sellers when they have freeze-dried candy, vendor markets. It is a top seller. But when I made it, it was the grossest thing I have ever eaten. Check it out. Okay, wow, does this room now smell like pickles. But we've got our pickles on our trays. They fit very nicely. We are just waiting our last 7 minutes to get them into the freeze dryer. Get these guys in. All right, we're locked and loaded. Hitting continue, and we are freezing. Before we go, I've got to leave you with a joke. What is a Pickles' favorite TV show? Dill or no dill? I'm just such a comedian over here. Our pickles have been freeze drying for quite some time. We are at the 22-hour mark. It just barely entered its extra dry cycle. So since the machine has already sensed that they are done, I am going to take these out of the machine and see how they are. I gotta be honest, they are not looking that appetizing. I'm hoping they taste better than they look. We will find out. I have one more joke for you. What do you call a pickle sale? A sweet dill. Sorry, this is so stupid. Okay, here are our pickles. Don't they just look lovely? I mean, they look a little scary, but this was a fun experiment. I inhaled some pickle dust. Excuse me. Okay, you know I'm honest here. On this channel, I like to show you my wins and my loses. This one might be a lose, but you know what? Maybe it's just me, because plenty of people who I have talked to about my freeze dryer have asked me to do pickles. They say they love the freeze-dried pickles. Me, at least these ones, not a fan. I need to try the pickle chips, and maybe a sweet pickle would be better. These are very strong in flavor and kind of have a spice to them. I honestly didn't even look at the jar to see if they were like spicy pickles or not. So that's my fault. Have you gotten pickles to work? What I have heard is that I need to rinse the pickles and soak them in water before I freeze dry them to get rid of the brine and the extra like saltiness that they are in and the juices that they live in their jar. That if you rinse them a few times before freeze drying, the flavor is much more subtle and much better. I also need to do the pickle chips, not spears. I feel like the spears just kind of shriveled up into nothingness, and the chips will actually hold their shape and you'll be able to take like a pickle chip bite. So my goal for an upcoming video is to recreate the pickles, but actually get them to work and be delicious. I love pickles. I am a pickle lover. So I would love to master freeze-dried pickles because I think that would be such a fun snack. And it just sounds delicious to have a crunchy, dry pickle. So if you have any tips for me, I would greatly appreciate any pickle advice that you have. I did use those pickles still. They did not go to waste. I blended them up into a like kind of chunky powder. And I have used it to make like, if I make an egg salad, I'll put a tablespoon of the pickle powder in it. And it is really good. It flavors it just enough to get the pickle flavor without being too overpowering. You can only use a little bit. If I use too much, it's way too strong just because those pickles were so strong. But I have used it and it has served its purpose. But I think we could do better. We can do better, right? So anyway, pickles were my biggest disaster ever. It was fun to reminisce on the past of my mistakes. May my mistakes be your warning to not try these foods or to figure out how to make them better. You know, we can always be better, right? If you have any funny freeze dryer fails you want to share in the comments, leave them down below and we can all just laugh together. You can't learn without trying and without failing. That's even how my whole YouTube journey has been. You can see some of these older videos that I have shown you highlights of, I feel like are terrible videos. They are hard for me to watch. But I had never done this before, and I feel like I have gotten better over time. I am still not great at all, but I have improved. But we all start somewhere, and we learn along the way. We can't be afraid to fail. If we're just afraid to even try, nothing would ever happen. You wouldn't accomplish anything. So I am all about going for your dreams, trying your best, and learning from the fails. I'm excited to get back into freeze drying now that we have passed all of the holiday craziness. Thank you so much for watching. And if you missed my 5 best things I have ever freeze dried video, I will leave it tagged right here. You can go check that one out. And I'll see you all on the next freeze drying adventure. Remember, when you freeze dry today, you secure your tomorrow. Bye, friends.